Hi everyone and welcome to Game Slobs. Now I'm not going to be pulling any punches with this video when it comes to my theory on what's to come with Living Story Season 3 and the next expansion for Guild Wars 2. So with that said, here is an official spoiler warning. Now while my theory is an educated guess, I actually feel like this chain of events leading us towards the next couple of dragons would be pretty damn cool. So I won't keep you waiting any longer, let's get down to it. So first things first, let's take a look back at the Heart of Thorns story. What has happened so far? Well, without going into too much detail, we know that Mordramoth was shamefully killed within his own dream. But with the death of Mordramoth, we had new problems to deal with, primarily Glint's egg. Since the leyline energy Mordramoth had stored up was now free to roam the world, it seemingly spread out and attached itself to Glint's egg. For now, we don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but I do have a theory for this. More on that later. As an extension of the leyline energy being released, we have recently had a few updates within the current events tab of our achievement panel. As such, we have now found that leyline energy seems to be present within 3 key areas around Tyria. Notably, because one is near Jormag in the Shiver Peaks, one around the Ascalon area near to Kralkatorrik, and the last in the south near Primordus. So as a result of the energy, we have seen an increased number of dragon minions trying to get their hands on the leyline energy. So what does this mean? So we know that the dragons are making a dash for the power of the ley lines. Now it's my belief that they will all get themselves a share of the ley energy, and as each of the dragons is defeated, the remaining dragons will claim that share of the energy, thus making them stronger. Now in the grand scheme of things, what does this tell us that we don't already know? Probably not a lot. Now that's what I thought at first, that is until this week's current events came out. Now this is seemingly quite a change of direction, and almost as if it came from out of nowhere and has no relevance to the story whatsoever. The bandit activity around Kryta is on the rise. Well, what relevance does that have? Well, it may surprise some of you to know that there is a bandit group that actually belong to the White Mantle. Now, this is kind of important, so if you don't know who the White Mantle are, then click the link on your screen now to watch my lore video about Livia to find out all about the White Mantle. Or, I'll quickly sum it up for you now. In Guild Wars 1, the White Mantle controlled Kryta. They were taking the Chosen to the Bloodstone located within the jungle, and they were sacrificing them upon it, which in turn empowered the seals on the Ring of Fire island chain. These seals prevented the Titans from escaping from the underworld, and it was the Mursaat who were behind all of this, so more on that later. Now back to the bandits. Janj's bandits can be found in Keswick's Hills, and they are actually a faction of the White Mantle. This is known. It is also known that the White Mantle appear in all their glory, meaning not hidden behind the word bandit, within the Brisbane Wildlands, so we know that the White Mantle still exist. It is my belief, and take from this what you will, that the bandits have a secret agenda and are all actually part of the White Mantle. It stands to reason that they all seem to be part of a separate faction, yet they all use the same emblem to identify themselves. Perhaps these bandits were once separate factions, but one by one these groups seem to be working towards the same goal, which is quite clear as we move into Living Story Season 3. This new current event sees players killing bandits to find encoded orders, which are then taken to the Shining Blade and decoded to reveal a location on the map. Each of these locations being close to a bandit camp. After a little stakeout, a champion arrives at the supplies and is quickly taken down by the players, naturally of course. These supplies seem to be foodstuffs, seemingly innocent. But let's take a second to read between the lines, shall we? First and foremost, where did these supplies come from? Well, if any of you have travelled to the bandit camps in Brisbane Wildlands, you may have noticed that bandits are working alongside that of the Azuran faction, the Inquest, and the Sylvari faction, the Nightmare Court. In the south we have Keswick's Hills, where the bandits seem to have a lasting peace with the centaurs there. So it's quite possible that these factions are behind the supplies, but this is all speculation and pretty much irrelevant. What I'm more interested in is why the bandits are collecting such large amounts of supplies. Enough supplies to go on a rather long journey. So let's take a second to connect the dots. Leyline energy spouting from the ground, dragon minions scrambling for this power, the heroes of the world preoccupied with the dragons while the bandits secretly collect resources and forge alliances with other enemy factions working together. To what end? Well, it's my belief that Destiny's Edge 1 and 2.0 will come together within the coming living story and or expansion and will travel into the Crystal Desert to find Kralkatorrik, thus leaving Kryta a little bit vulnerable. During this time, I believe the bandits will don their true identity and will reform as the White Mantle. The White Mantle will then go on a journey into the Maguman jungle, hence the supplies. And they will then attempt to steal Glint's egg from the Exalted, or the dragon if it's hatched. Armed with this dragon that has a connection to the Leyline energy, they now have a bargaining chip to offer the Mursaat. But wait, the Mursaat are extinct, aren't they? Well, looking at history, the Mursaat's primary goal was to protect the seals on the Ring of Fire island to deny the Titans access to Tyria. Since the Bloodstone is now nowhere to be found and no more sacrifices are taking place that we know of, it stands to reason that the Mursaat will be on the Ring of Fire island chain, maintaining the seals themselves. Now, 250 years of this task would understandably be enough to drive even Balthasar to insanity. So, to suddenly be offered the power of a dragon minion with a connection to Leyline energy no less, that power could maintain the seals indefinitely for them. But one question I was asked when I was discussing this with my guild is, how would the bandits extract Ley energy from a dragon minion? They don't have the technology for that. Well, that is where the Inquest come in. We know that the bandits have an alliance with them, and we know that the Inquest have been tampering with extracting dragon magic for quite some time. We've all seen it. Thus, we will see the return of the Mursaat. But why would the White Mantle want to work with the Mursaat again? Well, the answer is pretty darn simple. As history confirms, the Mursaat have the capability of giving their most powerful magic to their followers, Spectral Agony. Armed with this power, the White Mantle could rise up and take back Kryta from the Shining Blade. The Inquest get a shiny new dragon to experiment on, the Nightmare Court rise to power over the Sylvari, and the Centaur will reclaim the lands around Kryta. But then, where are all the players in all of this, I hear you ask? Well, they are too busy fighting Kralkatorrik to worry about Kryta. And in this battle, history will repeat itself. Logan will be presented with a choice. Run back to Kryta to save his queen, or stay and fight with Destiny's Edge. It is my belief that he will choose to stay, and will play a vital role in destroying the Elder Dragon. But for this act, he will pay the ultimate price. His life. Logan will die. And why do I think this? Well, I believe at least one character from Destiny's Edge will kick the proverbial as the story progresses. As we have already seen during Heart of Thorns, Logan played a very, very small role and said very little. The reason for this is that the voice actor Troy Baker is very busy and in very high demand, and more importantly, is very expensive. And it only stands to reason that ArenaNet would want to get rid of Logan for that very reason. But he will be remembered as a hero instead of a coward. And that, my friends, is my theory. Please keep in mind that this theory has come from my knowledge of Guild Wars lore and merely 2 current event chains. So, disclaimer, I am liable to change my mind as the story unfolds and we get a few more current events. but I will do all I can to keep these predictions rolling in for you, be they right or wrong. It's always fun to speculate. And that is all from me for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time on Game Slobs. Ta-ta! Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and maybe hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all of my shenanigans. And don't forget to check out some of my other videos. I've linked a related video right there for you. Go ahead and give it a click.